Nandini Sangradas. I am a third year medical student from University of Jaffna. Today I am going to explain about the anal canal and hemorrhoids under the session of perineum. Under this topic, I am going to explain about the anal canal, interior of the anal canal, hemorrhoids, anal sphincter and some clinical significance. Okay, hope you will enjoy and understand this session. Let's move to the topic. First we look about the perineum. What is perineum? The perineum is the part that is caudal to the pelvic diaphragm. If you see this diamond-shaped area, here you can see the ischial tuberosity. From here, there is an adjoining line dividing this diamond area into a large posterior anal triangle and a small anterior urogenital triangle. If you take, you can see the bony and the ligamentous boundaries of this diamond area. In the urogenital triangle, it contains the external genitalia. So, it differs in male and female. But if you take the anal triangle, it is same in both sexes, male as well as female. So, if you take the anal triangle, in the middle there is anal canal. And on either side there is ichioanal fossa. That means a wedge-shaped space that is filled with fat. And inferiorly it is bounded by the skin. This is the anal triangle. Okay, let's move to about the anal canal. That is the last 4 cm part of the alimentary tract. It commences at the anorectal junction 2.5 cm in front of the tip of the coccyx. And it extends downwards and backwards and it ends at the anal orifice, which is located 4 cm in front and below the the tip of the coccyx. Normally, when you study about any structures, if you know the relations to that structures, then you will get a clear picture in your mind. As like that, now we are talking about the anal canal. So let's talk about the relations to the anal canal. If you take the anal canals, anteriorly there is perineal body. If in male, there is membranous part of the urethra of penis, and in female, the lower part of the vagina. And posteriorly, there is anococcygeal ligament. And superiorly, there is the continuation of the rectum. And inferiorly, it is bounded by the skin. And on either side, as I told you earlier, there is ichioanal fossa, the space that is filled with fat. These are the relations to the anal canal. Next, we look about the anal sphincters. There are 2 types of anal sphincters. One is internal sphincter and other one is the external sphincter. The internal sphincter is an incomplete one. It surrounds the upper 3/4 of the anal canal and it is made up of smooth muscle. If you take the internal sphincter, it commences at the anorectal junction and it extends up to the Hilton's line. Hilton's line means that where the internal and the external sphincters are meet. We will see the Hilton's line a bit later. And other one is the external sphincter. If you take the external sphincter, unlike the internal sphincter, the external sphincter is a complete one and it is made up of skeletal muscle. There are 3 parts of external sphincter. You can see here. That is the deep part, superficial part and the subcutaneous part. Or in other words, you can say that is the upper part, middle part and lower part respectively. If you take the deep part, it's blended with the puborectalis ring. During the perital examination, you can palpate a U-like ring-like structure. That is this ring. If any damage occurs to this ring, then anal incontinence will occur. Then next one is the superficial part. You can see here, it attaches posteriorly to the coccyx and anteriorly to the perineal body. And next one, the last one is the subcutaneous part. It curves inwards below the internal sphincter. These are the 3 parts of the external sphincter. These parts blend with one another to form a continuous tube. Normally, if we take the anal sphincters, it together with the anal cushions maintain the integrity of the anal canal. That means it maintains the watertight closure of the anal canal. It opens only for the passage of the feces and the flatus. Now let's move to the nerve supply of the external sphincter. They are the inferior rectal branch of the pudendal nerve and perineal branch of the S4 nerve. Now let's look about the conjoined longitudinal cord. This is the conjoined longitudinal cord. At the anorectal junction, some of the longitudinal fibers of the rectum muscle become fibroelastic, and together with some skeletal muscle fibers of the puborectalis together form the conjoined longitudinal cord. It runs downwards between the internal sphincter and the external sphincter. From this, you can see here some of the strands are coming. Some are penetrating the internal sphincter and some are penetrating the lower border of the external sphincter. And some of them are reaching the ichioanal fossa and some are reaching the perianal skin. This is the conjoined longitudinal cord. Okay, let's look about the interior of the anal canal. There are two lines dividing the anal canal into three parts. They are the pectinate line or the dentate line and the Hilton's line. Above the pectinate line, you can see the upper area. It is about 15 mm in length. And between the pectinate line and the Hilton's line, you can see the intermediate area. Or in other words, you can say as pecten. You can see here. And below the Hilton's line, between the Hilton's line and the anal verge, you can see the lower part. It is approximately 8 mm in length. These are the interior part of the anal canal. Let's move to the interior of the anal canal, especially about the mucosa of the anal canal. If you take the upper third of the mucosa of the anal canal, there are some 6 to 10 longitudinal ridges. They are called as the anal column. If you take the end of the anal column, there are some horizontal ridges that adjoining the adjacent anal columns. They are called as the anal valves. So four pockets above the anal valves are called as the anal sinuses, and some anal glands are draining into the anal sinuses. And if you take the line of the anal valve, that is the level of the pectinate line. I already told. And now you can see the pecten area between the anal valve and the Hilton's line, or otherwise you can say between the pectinate line and the Hilton's line. So this line is the pectinate line. So in many questions they are asking about the pectinate line, as why they are working as a watershed area. Because if you take the pectinate line, above and below the pectinate line, there are some differences in the epithelium, lymphatic drainage, blood supply, origin, etc. We can talk about that one by one. Now let's look about the lymphatic drainage. Above the pectinate line, the lymphs are draining to the internal iliac lymph nodes, and below the pectinate line, they are draining into the superficial inguinal nodes. If you take the arterial supply, above the pectinate line, they are by the superior rectal artery, and below that by the inferior rectal artery. If you take the venous drainage, above the pectinate line, they are going to the portal system, and below that to the systemic system. The origin above the pectinate line are from the endodermal in origin, and below that are from the ectodermal in origin. And the epithelium above the pectinate line is the columnar epithelium, and below the pectinate line are the stratified squamous non-keratinized epithelium. And also we can talk about the hemorrhoids. Above the pectinate line there are the internal hemorrhoids, and below the pectinate line there are the external hemorrhoids. Okay, now let's move to the submucosa of the anal canal. In the submucosa there is a special one. They are the anal cushions. The anal cushions are formed by small submucosal masses. They are comprises of the fibroblastic tissue, smooth muscle, dilated venous spaces, arteriovenous anastomosis, etc. If you take the lithotomy position, you can see the anal cushions in three positions. They are the left lateral, right posterior and right anterior. Or in other words, you can say 3 o'clock, 7 o'clock and 11 o'clock position respectively. If on excessive straining in stool, the anal cushions become enlarged and causing the hemorrhoids. Okay, now let's move about the hemorrhoids. The hemorrhoids are the sustained pathological engorgement of the submucosal arteriovenous cushions. There are 3 degrees in the hemorrhoids. They are the first degree, second degree and third degree. In the first degree, the hemorrhoids are contained in the anal canal. But in the second degree, they are prolapsed when during the defecation. But in the third degree, they will prolapse normally through the anal orifice. These are the first and second and third degrees. Now see, the bleeding from the hemorrhoids are, you can see they are the bright color. Why is that? Because the anal cushions are formed by the arteriovenous anastomosis, I already told. That is the reason for this bright red color. And then there are two types of the hemorrhoids. One is the internal hemorrhoids and other one is the external hemorrhoids. If you take the internal hemorrhoids, they origin above the pectinate line and they are generally painless because of the visceral nerve supply. And if you take the external hemorrhoids, they are below the pectinate line and they are generally painful because of the somatic nerve supply. These are about the hemorrhoids, and also there is sometimes mixed hemorrhoids occur. That means the hemorrhoids occur above and below the pectinate line. These are the hemorrhoid types. Now there are some more pathologies related to the anal canal. There are anal fissure. If you take the anal fissure, that is a longitudinal tear in the lower one-third of the anal canal. It is generally painful because it occurs below the pectinate line. And also other one is the perianal abscesses. That means some localization of the pus underneath the skin, that means subcutaneous, or underneath the mucosa, that means submucosa, or sometimes in the ichioanal space. Then the fistula in ano, that means the perianal abscesses may sometimes burst or rupture and cause this fistula in ano. So these are the anal canal and some related clinical significance. Okay, this is the end of this session. Hope you all enjoyed and understood this session. Please don't forget to subscribe and click the bell button. Thank you.